Realtors are heroes. Heroes to their clients, heroes to their vendors, and heroes to the communities they serve. And as any good hero would have it, they're always facing existential threats. The fourth quarter of 2022, realtors were in the beginning phases of one of the biggest challenges they would face in over a decade. So we decided to host our first event called The Shift. We invited some of the most successful real estate agents in the industry to share their roadmaps to success. If you are a realtor, you are a hero. The wisdom you're about to receive in this next hour has not only taken decades to acquire, but if applied, will keep you from ever having to hang up that cape. I've known Stephanie Vittaco for about 8 years. She has always been one of the nicest and most down-to-earth person I've known. She has been the #1 Keller Williams agent in the nation for many years. Admired by many agents across the country, she consistently breaks records and sets new goals. She is someone that, despite what the market is doing, she always finds a way to thrive. Last year, she closed $180 million with 138 transactions. In 2021, $235 million with 225 transactions. In the height of the REO market, over 400 listings per year. Anyways, I think you get the point. She's phenomenal. Let's get right to it.
I did not want to be a realtor. I never thought about it at all. I was in the fashion industry from 18 to 21, and I was getting too old for that industry. I went to college briefly. I did not graduate because I went overseas to travel. So I thought, well, what can I do? So I knew someone who, I knew him on the peripheral, that was doing very well. He was my age, and he was selling houses. So I thought, all right, I'll get my real estate license and I'll give this a whirl and see how it goes. And that was a long time ago.
So how was that first year?
Horrible. The first year it was difficult. It was very difficult. You know, I knew nothing. I was extremely young. I looked even younger. In fact, it was so bad that when I would go to people's houses, they would say, "How old are you?" And so what I would do, because I didn't want to tell them I was 21 or 22, I would say, "Well, how old do you think I am?" And then they would go, "Well, you know, you've been probably doing this long." They'd go through a thing in their mind and they'd give me a number. So then whatever number they said, I just added a year or two to it. I said, "Oh, you're close. I'm 27." And I didn't mean to lie, but I felt like I would have no credibility if I said I'm 21, you're my third deal. Like, I couldn't say that. So, but then these people started to become my friends. So the first year, all of my deals on the front of the file had a number as to what age I told them, because I'm not a good liar. So nobody asks me how old I am anymore.
All right, so where are we, Stephanie?
So this is my office.
Hey, Joey.
This is Joey.
What's up, my man?
How's it going?
Good to see you, bro.
How you doing?
Good to see you as well. You always look very dapper. Thank you, brother.
You go do your thing, build relationships, and you walk into the listing appointment, you totally kill it, right? Like, you just rock that listing appointment and they sign with you. What is the first step that happened? Like, who gets the ball now?
So prior to the appointment, Joey helps me prepare all the documents for the appointment. Everything that he assists me with all the research, all the documents, the deeds, the history, etc. Then I review it all and I do my own preparation on top of it. So he does the first round, I do the final round before I go to the appointment. Then I come back and then I create the strategy, and then he helps me implement the strategy. So literally we'll have where clients say, "Here's the keys, we're leaving," and then we hire the people to clear. I say, "Leave behind whatever you don't want, and we'll donate, estate sale, get rid of if it's not going to be able to be sold." And then it's a matter of hiring painters and handyman and gardeners and tree trimming, etc. And then we coordinate. We get the estimates and we coordinate it all for them. So then they can be just completely hands off. If they want to be involved, great, then we do it with them. But especially if they're out of state or someone's passed and they just don't want to deal with it all. So Joey helps me with all of that. Then we coordinate, all the marketing, the photography, all of that part of it. He helps all the social media, everything, getting it up and running on the MLS.
He does all of that stuff?
He does, but Melissa works with him side by side.
Okay.
So there's
that's
two
what I
of
was
them.
gonna say.
Yes.
Okay, so yes, because you have a lot that's going on at the same time,
Yes.
he has help, which is Melissa.
Yes.
So both he and Melissa take care of everything that you just said right now.
Correct. Yes.
Which is, you come up with a vision.
Yes.
And you say, guys, this is the vision.
Yes.
This is what's been approved in the budget.
Yes.
This is what the client wants.
Yes.
So now he has a list of people that he uses when it comes to landscaping, contractors.
Let's do it together.
Oh, the three of you
Yeah,
do it together.
absolutely. So I may start the process and get them out there and then say, okay, Joey, our gardener's going out on this date, the stager's going out on this date. So he helps me execute it and get it through.
Okay, so I have a key question here. Is there a software that you guys use to track every single property? Like, is it all in a folder somewhere? Like, what do you do?
Well, we just keep it in our head.
Yeah.
I would believe you if you tell me that, Stephanie.
A lot of it is, I do. I say
I don't know how she does it. She can remember stuff that's like she
at
has
2
a-
in the morning is
Yeah.
when I remember, this didn't get done.
Yeah. So,
No, we have-
but we have a system that we have an online system that we use, but we also keep paper files of everything, which is necessary. When I first got here, I was like, oh my God, why do we use this much paper? But it's a system that works, and it works really well, and it keeps us in line.
That is our fail-safe. You asked what our fail-safe is, and believe it or not, as effective as the computer is and all the programs are, this is our backup.
Okay, so right now, these are all your deals that you're working
These
on
are
right now.
this is the listing side. Yeah.
These are all listed. These are pre-list, and these are recent closings, and then all of these are.
Okay, wait, you're going way too fast. Okay, help me understand this. So this pile is what?
Those are listed on the market now.
These are currently, okay, no, then let's start before. So these are the ones that Stephanie is either going to go to the listing presentation.
No.
These she's already done. So we have the
Listing
contract.
presentation go-to is all in there. That's the hot mess in there. That's my office.
We'll go there later. Okay, we'll go there later. We're not ready for that. Okay, so we'll go there later. So right
This is
here,
already listed.
after that's done, this is already listed, but pre-listing, meaning it hasn't hit the market.
Correct.
But it's in the process of either being landscaped, photos, whatever, all that stuff.
Right.
This is what it is.
We're
Right.
waiting. Everybody
Yeah.
has different time frames, right? So like I have clients that I listed their house, but they said we don't want to hit the market till January. Okay. So we've done the prep work, and now we're waiting until they want to hit the market January 15th. So we'll be ready to rock and roll on January 15th.
That's amazing. So aside
And we
from-
also get files, by the way, let me just say this. We also get files that she says, we're going live on this at the end of the day today. And we're like, okay, stop, drop, and roll.
You're not supposed to say that on camera. You're not.
No, it's a
I'm
good thing.
just
She
kidding,
just
bro.
does
I'm
what the
just
client
kidding.
wants.
I'm kidding. No, that's awesome. But look, that sets you apart. I'll tell you what. If you don't have the systems and if you don't have this already set, you can't do that.
Right.
You can't go fast.
Right.
Because you're like, as fast as I want to go, I have 5 current escrows that I'm working on and I can't move that fast. You know what the keyword is? Bandwidth.
Yeah.
You've created more bandwidth in your business to be able to handle the amount that you do.
We can scale pretty quick. We do, and we're good at pivoting too. So and prioritizing, right? So if a client says, "Listen, I need to sell my house right away," so I'll make that happen.
How much more percentage can this take right now?
I will shift things around. So if Melissa's working on closings and I need all of a sudden there's a better demand over here, all hands on deck. We switch to over here. It depends on where the flow is, right? Like if all of a sudden we have 10 properties that go into escrow, then all hands on deck in escrow. Or if all of a sudden I've got 4 clients who all need to go on the market right away, stop what you're doing. That can wait till later today. This needs to do priority now.
Hiring your first assistant in many ways is a huge milestone in any real estate agent's business. It's something that you probably don't want to rush into as it brings overhead into a business with a somewhat inconsistent monthly revenue. Stephanie didn't start off with a team. Let's hear how she hired her first assistant.
So I started to get so busy that I couldn't do it all by myself. So I would work in the business during the day, and then I'd work on the business in the evening. There was no transaction coordinators then. And this woman I'll never forget. So they just gave me a small cubicle, and I said I don't have enough room, and they just blew me off. They didn't care. So I like to work on the floor. Have everything spread out on the floor. I still work like that to this day. And so I just had all my files all over the floor. And I was with Fred Sands at the time, And he came into the office one day, just making his rounds, and he pulled the office manager aside and said, "That girl's a fire hazard. What is she doing? What's she doing working on the floor?" And the manager said, well, she's doing this many. He goes, "Give her more room." So they gave me more space. And then a woman came up to me who was twice my age, and she was going through a divorce. And again, I was working spread out on the floor, and she has her hands on her hips, and she's looking down, and she says, "You need my help." Because I would literally stay in the office till 12 or 1 at night to do the follow-up work.
Yeah.
Because I would do work on the business in the day and service it at
So
night.
when you say work in the business and on the business, and then on the business in the evening, what specifically are you saying?
During the day is when I would be door knocking and doing my follow-up and servicing clients. And then at night, I would be following up on the escrows and doing the paperwork and doing all that kind of stuff. So I was like, I take off one hat and put on another. And so when this woman approached me and literally standing up, leaning over me saying, "You need my help," I looked up at her and I said, "Yeah, but how am I going to pay you? What if I've only been doing, what if it all dries up tomorrow?" And she said, she was going through a divorce and she wanted stable income. She said, "Well, let's give it 90 days and let's see what happens." I said, "Great." So now I didn't feel like I was obligated for a salary for a year because that was so intimidating and overwhelming. So I said, "Great, 90 days." So at the end of 90 days, she just lifted so much off of me, but I still continued to work until midnight. So we pushed it to the next level. So then I hired the next person and the next person. So that's kind of how I built it, just kind of by trial and error.
A 90-day trial period is a very wise way of hiring team members. You're not only seeing if you have the ability to pay them, but you're also evaluating their character, productivity, and work ethic. Notice also what Stephanie said. She didn't hire and sit back and let her new assistant take care of everything, but she continued to work hard to push her business to new levels.
I think in the beginning you have to do it all yourself because you have to learn all the different aspects of it. And then once you've mastered those aspects, then you can break pieces off and give it to someone else.
Well, that's what I was going to say, because a lot of the panelists that we're talking about, some of them were talking about implementing technology. And a lot of these concepts, I don't know if it's like that for a lot of you guys here, but they sound very difficult to understand. So you can easily say, "Oh, no worries, I'll hire someone to do that." But what you're saying is that, if you're starting something from the beginning, you're saying you should be the first person to learn how to do that specific thing. Even if it's so hard, such hard concept to understand, you're going to find mentors, you're going to find courses, you're just really going to understand this so that then you can multiply yourself and be able to teach others. You're not saying, "I'm in this position where I can hire anybody I want and I'm just going to hire that stuff out."
You can't, because I don't think anybody will handle it like you will handle it. So just in listening to the stuff about all the technology, which is, that's not something that I grew up with. So I come from a different mode of activity, but I want to learn it. But that means I have to stop what I'm doing and learn that, and then figure out a way to implement it. I couldn't just say, "I'm just going to hire this person," because it wouldn't have the same effect.
I hope you're enjoying the show. We're going to have to take a little pause here for me to talk to you about Home Sweet Home Productions. Whether you're listing a $200,000 condo or you're listing a $50 million house, we have the experience to help you create the content that your property deserves. So whether it's photography, videography, whatever you may need to help you market your home, Home Sweet Home has you covered. We want you to rest assured that when you go into a listing presentation, you're gonna know that you have a team that has the experience to help you create the content that you're gonna need to create in order to market this home. With over 10 years of experience, we believe that we can be a very valuable part of your team. So yeah, guys, Home Sweet Home Productions is the one that is sponsoring this entire show. I hope that you would support us there. Let's get back to the show. So this is the pre-listing. This is all currently working on. I have to ask this question. It's also online, or is it just here, mainly here?
No, it's also in our system as well.
The computer is primary. This is backup. Because when I go to someone's house, I'm sitting there with paper, and I prefer to do the contract, in most cases, going over it with them, having them sign. Because when they sign, and I explain it to them, and they sign it, they understand it better than when we just go, "Here's the contract, DocuSign. Do you have questions, or do you want me to go over it on the phone?" It's much more tactile when I'm sitting there going, "Let me explain to you what you're signing," versus, it's like if you've ever gotten a document from somebody and they're like, "Here, DocuSign it," and it's 25 pages, you're like, I don't know, click and sign, what did I just sign? And you trust the person, but I just find it's better. Buying and selling a home is such an emotional process and most people's largest financial process. So I want to make sure that I hit all the points directly to you before you sign, because I don't want you coming back to me saying, I didn't understand, I didn't know, what about this, what about that? I'd rather do it up front. And I know when I go through it, I will have you where I need you to be so that you're on board with me. You get it.
And what I see what that does, Stephanie, is that creates less interaction, having to have you interact with them here, which means that you already had those conversations. They're set. Now all it is Joey coming in and facilitating it.
Next step.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, so let's move on. Pre-listing now.
On the market.
We're live.
We're live.
So what's here? What can we expect here?
So we're on the market. We do this, ideally we will have everything done as far as disclosures, and we always do a retrofit and termite inspection right up front. So ideally all of that is done by the time it gets to that bin. We do the marketing at that point. We print brochures, we do the email blasts, everything
All
that
the social media.
Yeah, all the social media, all that
Who
kind of
takes
stuff.
care of social media?
Me.
For all the properties?
Yeah. Me and Sue, actually. Sorry.
Okay, so there's a new person.
Hey, what about me?
He's like, hey, you better not forget all the work that I do around here. Better
Right.
not go underappreciated.
Actually, she probably does more of it than I do, so truth be told.
Don't worry, Sue. We're coming to you.
perception.
We're coming to you, Sue. Don't worry. We're gonna make sure you get camera time. Okay, pre-listing, live.
Yes.
What's this big old bucket for?
Closed. Recently closed files.
What is
so
recently?
we do, depends on how far back. So we just, so again,
kept piled
we
up.
had this was really full because we just couldn't get to it because this was busy. So if it's closed, it can sit. It's not as, it
Sure.
can sit, it can't sit, but it can
Sure.
sit long. It's not a top priority as this is a priority, right? It's closed, we'll get to it. We'll get the closing packages out, we'll get there, but there's nobody, there's no
explain
lock rate.
Closing
that's-
packages.
So every deal that closes, I send out a complete set of documents to them so they have a file. I also send out a photo album of their house. So, and we put it all in the package so they have just a keepsake memento. Instead of it online, it's an actual little photo album of their house and all their documents in a folder. So, and then we also have a tax letter that we prepare now that we can send out in the next January. So because otherwise everybody's calling in January, can you send me my closing statement? I can't find it. So we have a separate letter that we do now, and it's just so in January, they all go out.
But this is just as good, if not better, than a flyer that you're going to send them, than, marketing material that you're going to send them, because it's stuff that they actually need and they actually should save. And the fact that you're going out of your way to do that and remembering in January before they call you or text you or email you, whatever, and ask for it, you're saying, hey, you need this.
It's just part of our system. It's part of our closing checklist. Did the photo album get done? Did the closing statement letter for January get done? All the documents go out. So yeah.
Is
all of it.
is there a system for that?
Yeah, there's a system for everything.
Oh yeah. Where's the system for that?
Joey, what is the system for that?
For the closed files,
Yeah.
we have a procedures guide for it. We have a procedures guide for everything, but as far as the system for it, it's just kind of printing out everything, putting it together in a package, ordering photos for the clients, putting them in a photo album, which may seem old school, but you would be surprised. People love it. We get so many compliments on the photo albums that we send out.
Well, I'm saying, is there a tracking system for it? How do you guys track if that everybody got done?
Checklist. We have a checklist. We have a
Checklist for everything. Yeah.
Checklist
And our
for
system also in here, once it's in closed status, we know that we should have a closed file that we'd be working on. And then once it's in final recon status, that means that everything is absolutely done on it. And
all
then we
bills
do
are paid,
yeah.
everything's done, the check's been received, all of it.
And the way that you make sure that it gets done is you go to that system and you're like, did this get checked? This get checked? This get checked? Oh, what's going on with the file on Parada? Oh, let me go check the file. So you see,
They do all of that closing.
But you keep them accountable by going to that system to see what's been checked or not.
Yeah.
If you're like, Joey, what's going on with Parada? I don't see that the landscaping was done and that it hasn't been checked off. That's how you follow up with your team. That's how you keep your team accountable.
So yes, but for me, really, the properties, and I know this is gonna sound crazy, but it's in here.
Yeah.
A lot of it's in here.
Yeah. And we do a lot of group texts as well.
Yes, we do. We do. They hate me for it, but we do. But no, I trained myself that way from the beginning, before everything was online. And although I have it all online, for me, because I am out in the field, I'm not physically sitting at a desk. I'm on the fly most of the time, going from house to house to house to house. It's easier to keep it in here, and I have my manual notes that I keep in my notebook in my car. It's on my front seat. I mean, literally one of the criteria is kind of pathetic. When I bought my car was that the center console must be something that can be flat enough to write on. Because when I am driving, I'm taking notes when I'm talking to a client. So, yeah, it's all there.
Wow.
So between the weird way my memory works and my written notes, and then funneling it to them for them to put in the systems because they're here while I'm out there, it works.
When you write down, do you take a picture of it and then send them that picture to communicate that?
I dictate it into a text. That's why he's saying the text. We do a lot of text. We have one chain where I'll be like, okay, I just went here. We need keys. This key is a problem. Da, 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 da. We have to do this, this, and this. So, and it's a rolling chain.
Some people call it a procedures guide, others SOPs, that's standard operating procedures, and others policies and procedures. If you treat your real estate business as an actual business, you will soon find the need to create this. All it is a manual that says how your business will do the different activities that need to be done. For example, when Stephanie closes a listing, what happens next? According to her procedures manual, each client should receive a closing package. This package has several things in it, including the photo album and closing statement that she just mentioned. Now, if she were to hire a new assistant and assign him or her the responsibility of making sure that this gets done, she doesn't really need to invest so much time telling them exactly what to do, but just refers them over to the procedures manual.
So to do 400 deals a year, unless it's an REO market, that means that's 400 living rooms that I've got to be in. At least, I mean, if I'm in someone's living room one time for every listing appointment, that's really good. So really, it's probably going to be 2 times. So that's, let's just say 600. If I'm at 1.5, that's 600 times I go to somebody's house. There's only 365 days in the year. So it's just not possible for just me to go on those appointments. So then it means I have to hire and train listing agents. So do I want to have that model? Or do I want to have this model? Like, which model do you want to do? So for me, I think Dave Walters said it too. I like to be the one at the listing appointment. I'm good at it. I enjoy it. I have fun with it. To me, that's great. I'm not the one who wants to cultivate 10 buyer's agents and spend my time on them. I'd rather spend my time in someone's living room and going through what it's going to take to sell their house. That's what I'm good at. That's what I enjoy.
You're saying there's some things you're just not willing to give up, and being at listing presentations is one of them.
Correct. I mean, if there was a way that I could scale and make it financially a lot better than what I'm doing now, of course, I would do that. And maybe there is, and I'm just not willing to stop and go backwards and change lanes and go forwards, because I don't want to give up what I built, because it took a long time and it was a lot of work.
Right.
So it's working, but yeah, there's things I can do to improve.
What's the latest thing that you've had to innovate that's like, man, this isn't working, we got to change that up, within what we're talking about right now?
So we're just turning over. So the system that we've been using, our software program, is we've had it for a long time, and it was based heavily on being able to. So in 2007 and 8 and 9 and 10 and 11, when the foreclosure market was really high, we needed to have a very intense software that could track those properties and all of the management that we had to do on it, but yet still do all of the functions that retail real estate needs. And so that program that we have has now becoming obsolete. So we're in the process of migrating to Sisu, and so that's our new system that we still have our old system, but we're slowly integrating over to the new system.
Whereas Home Sweet Home Productions exists to create content for your properties that you list, Create LA exists to create content for you as a real estate agent. Anything from brand videos to campaigns that you want to do on social media, or even social media management, Create LA not only has the experience, but has the creativity to be able to help you brand yourself. Give us a call today and let Create LA take your brand to the next level. What does it look like for you in this downturn, in this shift? Are there things that you're changing? Are you making cuts? Are you saying, well, I don't need this much support, now I need this much? What are you doing right now?
No, I'm not making cuts. I am shifting. So I'm being a paper girl. I have like a stack of people I've talked to, people that I've gone on appointments on, nothing ever happened. And by the way, I track everything. I track every appointment I go on. I track how many listing appointments I went on, how many I got, how many I lost.
On your book.
In my book. I have a book, and I do it at the end of I do it. It's broken down month, week, day. So when business gets a little quiet, I just go back to my leads and I'm like, oh, I wonder what happened to those people, and I call. I did this so when the market started to really get quiet a couple weeks ago, maybe it was even a month and a half ago, I went through a stack and I just started calling, and I got 2 listings just from going through my old leads. So I think Stephen Christie was talking about follow-up, or everybody, but it's important. The follow-up is key.
We were talking yesterday, one of the questions that I asked is, where do you cut if you need to make cuts? You said nowhere. But I see why. Because your people are so skilled and can cross-pollinate and can work together as a team, you're like, listen, everyone's essential.
Absolutely.
You don't have people picking up tuna. I don't see Joey here picking up tuna. Yeah, he's not picking up tuna. Neither there's anyone else. But what I'm saying is that there's always something to do here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And in a rare occasion when there's a lull, I don't know. Are there ever lulls?
No, because if there is anything that's not, to do with this stuff, there's always stuff that we can be handling in this office to keep us ahead of the curve.
Usually what happens is if the listings are super high, the escrows seem to taper. If all of a sudden the escrows, everything sells and escrows get really busy, the listings seem to taper. So it's like the line at the bank. It's never a steady flow, right? Sometimes there's 2, sometimes it's out the door. I mean, sometimes, they stay late. They work really hard. We all do. And then other times it's not quite as crazy and you can go, oh, wow. Okay, I can get out of here at a reasonable time because it's not as insane over the top. So it just depends on it's like the line at the bank. You can't control it. You just have to be prepared to manage those customers.
But you know what? It just makes me so, because I'm the same way with my team, I constantly am so grateful for Shirley, Jesse. Like when it gets crazy and I really need them, they put in the extra hours. But they know that when it gets slower, I'm not gonna cut their hours. You know what I mean? So I think it's a give and take, but I'm always so grateful for them, as I see that you are for your team. You're like, I just can't imagine myself, doing anything without them.
I can't do it without them. There's no way. I can't. I could do 10% of the business. I can't. You can't watch the front door and the back door at the same time. It's in any business. I mean, when you go to your doctor, you don't want him prepping the room. You don't want him giving you the form to fill out with your birth date and, all your information. You want him doing what he does best, right? And you rely on that professional to have the support around them so that they can just focus on what they do best.
How's your retention?
Well, Joey's been here for 2 weeks. No, I'm kidding. So, good. Joey's been here for
almost 4 years, I think.
4 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Chung Mi's been forever.
Eight or so. Sue joined us 3 years.
3 years.
No, it was before COVID. It was pre-COVID.
Yeah, you're right.
Melissa's been with us for 4 or 5 years. Desi's been with me Desi's my work wife. I have my husband and I have Desi. Desi's been with me for over 20.
What keeps you going here on this team, Joey?
I love it. I love the business. I love working with Stephanie. It's fun. Like she's amazing. As amazing as she is, Okay, I'm gonna gush a little bit
are you
with
gonna
you.
kick me in the back?
No. I'm gonna gush on you a little bit. As amazing as she is so down to earth and so nice and friendly, and she's so humble about everything. So I love working with her. I love the team. We're like a little family here. We literally are. We're like we fight, we laugh. We hang out after work. It's awesome.
We have a
we
lot
work
of fun.
really well together.
We work hard. Mm-hmm. We have a lot of fun. You guys play hard.
Yeah. Her play is her work. So
Yeah, it is.
that's true.
No, they're awesome though. I'm very fortunate.
No matter what stage your business is at, whether it's just you doing all the prospecting and handling all the escrows, or you have an entire team like Stephanie does, there are lessons that each stage teach us. If we are constantly innovating and learning from our mistakes, we position ourselves and our business to be able to handle more. There's nothing more frustrating and stressful than to see opportunity come to you that you do not yet have the capacity for.
Having an REO account and being the listing agent for that is very expensive, right?
Oh yeah, very expensive.
Why?
With any of the bank-owned assets, you have to turn all utilities on in your name. You have to pay for them every monthly, garden, pool, you have to do the repairs, you have to front all of the expenses like a property manager. And if you don't have the money to do it, you have to find the way to do it because that's part of the deal. And then you have to get reimbursed. I mean, it's a whole tracking thing. At the peak of the REO market, I had 12 people working for me because it just took that much manpower. I had one person who was 1.5 people who all they did all week, 40 hours a week, was turn utilities on, turn utilities off, and submit bills to get reimbursed. Because if you didn't get reimbursed, you lose. I mean, I knew agents who've lost hundreds of thousands of dollars in the marketing. I mean, in the property management aspect of
Because
the
they didn't
REO.
track their numbers.
Yeah, because the bank basically goes, here's a property, handle it. Their performance expectations were incredibly high. So yeah, I still have it, my separate REO account. And
You still have that account, separate
yeah,
REO account?
I still do REO.
Oh, wait, so you're, because you still do, okay.
I still do.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of them. I think
Do you think they're coming back?
Not just yet. Not just yet. Not here anyway, not just yet. Because so many people have, if anybody has purchased or refinanced since 2012, they're pretty much between a 2 and 4% interest rate. So if they need to sell too, they just call one of us and we go out there and sell it for them. So the inventory has to get super high before that switch will flip. I have 2 clients right now who have notices of default filed against them. And I mean, I said, don't worry, I'll get it sold before the sale date comes up. So it's not gonna go to REO. Will that happen in the next year or 2? Who knows? I don't know.
But you're saying you're prepared to be able to handle the next influx of them if they were to come.
Correct.
How do you position yourself to be able to have these type of deals?
So with the REO market, it's no different than farming attorneys, probate attorneys, business managers, a geographical farm. I farmed those people. You learn who the asset managers are and you take them to dinner. And there was a period of time where there was a lot of, and I'm sure everybody read about it in the papers from this second go around, there was a lot of, there was a percentage of some of the guys who did really well, who, I mean, I knew somebody who got a horse, I knew somebody who got, trips. I did not do that, and it's hard to compete when you're competing against somebody who's giving kickbacks. So it was a matter of just saying, for them to see that I could do the work. Because if I made them look good, then they look good in the eyes of their supervisors. So, and only a small part, I think, of the industry was dirty, but it was there.
So you're saying position yourself by being wise with your finances, farm those specific people, follow up with them, and then when the opportunity comes, you have a foundation of relationship, but also resources to be able to manage the assignments that come in. Because what happens if an assignment gets messed up?
Oh, it's painful. So, I mean, in an REO market, I was closing 350 to, one year was 420 houses. I mean, it was insane. It was fun. I mean, I had one asset manager, he was lovely, but his thing was you had to have flowers, fresh flowers in the flower beds. So when you knew he was coming into town, it was like, get the flowers in the flower bed. We're gonna lose the assets. No pizza flyers on the porch. I mean, it was a big deal. So you had to hire somebody, if you didn't do it yourself, to go to these properties regularly and make sure. And I mean, we all know, even today, like if you have a vacant property and you're not there for 2 days, somebody leaves the lights on, somebody leaves the door open. So what they would do is send out shoppers, and they would shop your properties, and you wouldn't know when they were coming into town. And if I had one property that we missed it, we screwed up, and they pulled 12 listings in one day, and I lost the account.
Wow.
It was
12 listings
painful.
in one day.
Yep, that's the number of properties that by the way, I had been working on these for months. I had tons of money invested in them. Nope, they took them from me and gave them to someone else.
Do they still refund you everything that you put into it?
They did. I had to resubmit. They gave me like so much time to submit my bills and everything.
But you lost that account.
Yeah, lost the account.
Forever.
Painful.
Forever.
Yep. Painful. I remember the name of all of the people involved to this day. Post-traumatic stress, yeah.
What could you have done differently to not lose it?
I should have been more on top of it. I missed it. I screwed up. We were going too fast and I fell. I tripped.
For the past couple of years, most of us have just been reacting to all the demand COVID generated. Many of the areas that required our attention simply kept getting deferred because we were all so busy. Our ability to not only identify the areas in our business that need adjustments, but also implement a solution is a key determining factor in whether our businesses will continue to grow, become stagnant, or go out of business. If you're gonna pivot to something else, this is a good time to do it because things aren't moving 100 miles per hour for a lot of different people.
So what's interesting is they're moving 100 miles an hour, but in slow motion. So it's a different kind of concept. So before, where it was, we'd list a property and get, oh my God, it was fun. 20 offers, 30 offers, it was crazy, right? That everything was just, it would go from here to here to there, here to here. It wouldn't even sit here. It would just, boom, fly right into Chung's office. But now, this area is taking 10 times amount of time.
That makes sense.
So back to my analogies, it's like being stuck in the 405 in traffic at 3 o'clock on a Friday afternoon. It's slow, but it's not free time.
I get you.
It's twice as much work. It's 3 times the amount of work to do the same business.
If you don't see offers where you want them in 10 days, that's when you change price? What's your strategy?
And it is moving. It's starting to slow up a little bit. But if a property is currently priced correctly for condition, location, square footage, we will still have offers within 10 to 20 days. If a property is not in escrow currently, within 30 days, it is too high for the current condition, location, square footage. It's simple as that. Pricing is probably the most effective marketing tool we have. You can't underprice, but you can overprice, right? If a property is priced too low, and we don't price them too low, but if it is priced too low,
the market will raise it up.
You'll capture the broadest audience, you'll get the best trajectory, and it will bid up. That's why auctions work.
If your data's showing 17, do you suggest 16?
In this market, most likely. Yeah, it really depends on the property, because there are some properties where depending again on the house, right? If I know, okay, this has a view, it's a 1-story, no step up, step down, and it's excellent. I know there's going to be a broader audience than if it's backing to the freeway and, the roof's falling in or something.
Okay, but then if you're at the listing presentation and you say, I think your property's worth 17 based off of data, and I think you should list it at 16. And then they counter with you, well, I just had a different realtor here, and they told me I can get between 17 and 18. What do you say then?
I say, none of us are so smart to know where the market is, and you don't want to pick an agent based on the price that they tell you. I'm really good at guessing how many jelly beans are in the jar, and I will always be very transparent with you. I want to get you as much as possible, but the market is ultimately going to tell us where it's at. It is just like how water seeks its level. You can't underprice, but you can overprice. If you're too high, you'll sit. If you're priced correctly, and it's experimental because we're trying to hit a moving target, it'll be an escrow within 10 to 20 days, no more than 30. If it is too low, and I have some clients who say, you know what, let's go low and let's give it 10 days and let the market catch. Okay, and it will. I call it the Bandaid theory, right? When you were a kid and you had a Bandaid stuck on your arm, were you the kid that pulled it off really fast, or did you go one hair at a time? There's no right or wrong answer, and I'll go with my clients however they're most comfortable. because everybody has a different psychological process. I will explain it all to them. Pricing's a team effort. So it's not up to
Bandaid
me.
Analogy is genius because you're saying, this is my advice. I believe that it's going to be there. Now, how we're going to get there is up to you.
Totally.
I'm giving you 2 strategies. One, pull out the Band-Aid. If that's the type of person you are, perfect. If you don't reason with that, then let's pull it off slowly.
I mean, I had a client years ago, and he's still a client till this day. And I told him his property, I don't remember the numbers. I told him the property was worth here, and he said, I just got to start it here. I just need to know I can't get this. I was like, oh my God, it's never going to sell. I go, you're going to hate me. You're going to think it's all my fault. I promise I won't. So I had that conversation with him. We started it there, absolutely nothing. So then he's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you are right, Stephanie. And then he adjusted a little bit, and then he got frustrated. He's like, how come it's not selling? I'm here. I said, because you're still not there. And by the way, now the market's moved here. Oh no, okay, let's put it where you originally said. Put it where I originally said, but the market had moved. Finally, after I think 3 months, he said, okay, what do I need to do? I said, just put it where I tell you and it will go. And we did, and it did. But if he hadn't gone through that process, he would have thought I undersold his property.
Staging with Sophia is run by my beautiful and amazing wife. Aside from being beautiful and amazing, she has a gift of hospitality. She's not a snobby creative that's gonna go into your properties and say, this is what we're gonna do. She's gonna listen to you. But if you say, I just want you to take care of everything, she definitely has the knowledge and the experience to be able to do that. She is the person that you definitely want as a part of your team.
So we just had a conversation on everything that happens on this side. This side is ran by Joey, Melissa,
And then crossover, depending. There's overflow, just depending on where the bubble is.
What's behind the glass door?
Welcome. She sold real estate for 12 years. She was a full-on real estate agent on her own, selling real estate.
I act in agent capacity with her, so we're like twins.
Yes.
Sort of. Yeah. Left hand, right hand, sometimes her right ear. So
Absolutely. She helps me from the negotiation, the counter offers, all the way through the escrow process. So that, because we assume that most likely the other agent may not do their job, the lender may not do their job. So we have systems in place, so we're doing their job. Once we're in an escrow, I don't want to rely on somebody that I don't know their work ethic, I don't know their ability to perform, I don't know their skill set, their knowledge. So we basically do their job for them.
So you're always in control.
Totally. Well, as much as we can be.
As much as you can be.
what does that mean?
I know, seriously. No, but what I'm saying is that because she's been with you for 8 years, I think that's part of the secret sauce.
She can finish my sentences.
There you go.
Sometimes people call in and they'll get off the phone. They'll say, "Nice talking with you, Stephanie," and it was her. She's like,
I do introduce myself as Chung Mi, though. I did. Yeah, I do tell them who I am. Yeah.
So she's like, something comes in and they try to negotiate. And Chung Mi goes, heck no, that's not going to roll around here. This is not the way Stephanie rolls.
No.
Get out of here. That's not going to work. How'd you find her? Man, how'd you find her?
I'm very fortunate. I'm very fortunate.
You have such an amazing team. It's so
Yeah,
cool.
I sure do. Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Very awesome. Yeah.
What's kept you here 8 years?
Gosh, lots of stuff. Number one, Stephanie. Stephanie and Desi are, if I didn't love these girls as much as I did, because let me tell you, real estate is a contact sport, and I'm sure she said it 100 times already. Most agents have to do everything. They're marketing, they're this, they're lead generation, they're putting it in a file. I get to sit here and kickbox all day long.
She's the best kickboxer.
That is all I do is kickbox. Of course, I can't do without, of course, Sue and them. We have to cover our sellers' liability. Or buyers, whoever we're representing. So we have to make sure that everything that we have that she communicated to them makes it to me. Because that's crucial. Because that can cost us time, money. It can cost us a lawsuit. It can cost us dollars, for sure. When I say us, Stephanie pays for it. But her money is my money, right? So at the end of the day,
One thing great about them is they all have my back.
If it wasn't for, I wouldn't be here. When you're running with the pack or you're trying to keep up with them, I'm not as fast, but I'm getting there. I've gotten faster, right? But working with people who bring you up, I think that's, to me, is key. It's very. I think it's hard to find that in this industry in general.
Well, you've created a culture here. This is the second person that says this is like a family. And so I think a big part of retention is the fact that, look, if you're a jerk, nobody wants to work with you.
Yeah. Wait a minute, you said the second person. Who didn't say that? Who didn't say that?
Okay, we're family.
One of the most important roles a leader has within his or her organization is defining culture.
This is a vital responsibility because culture will seep into every part of our business. As we can clearly see, Stephanie has built a culture within her team of hard work, trust, and family. Although this takes time and effort to build, it is totally worth it because everything on your standard operating procedure, as we talked about earlier, will be done from the context of culture.
So negotiations, after negotiations, what happens next?
So because we assume that the other agent isn't going to do their job and that the lender may not do their job because we don't have direct control
Even the
over it.
lender, you're saying?
What if we don't?
Goodness.
Depends. It's not our lenders, right? Because again, if there's another agent, we don't know.
That is
You know,
so cool.
it's Bob's Manicures, Mortgages, and Mechanics from Temecula, and he's doing the loan. So guess what? Chung Mi is calling him every day, going, "Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? Do you have it? When will we get 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 it?" And so
That's so awesome to have on the
our
team.
seller. Otherwise, we have to call our seller in 3
Yeah.
weeks and go, "Oh, the lender
Yeah.
screwed up." Well, why didn't
Yeah.
you know the lender screwed up?
Absolutely.
So she has a whip in the bottom drawer,
Yeah.
and she
awesome.
she uses
Lets
it.
them have it. Okay, cool.
So-
So negotiation, then where does it move on to
Sue
next?
supports Chung.
Yes.
So
I
Sue
see.
is saying, okay, the lender's not doing their job. Call him again. I've called him 17 times. Stay on him. Or the agent didn't get us this. Or the contingencies are up tomorrow. What's going on? Do we have the contingency removal? Because sometimes other agents will duck and cover. And they'll say, ooh, maybe they won't notice that the contingency's up tomorrow. And they go dark. And so we have to hunt them down.
That's good. Okay, so you're pretty much support all over the place because
Yeah.
you support her mainly, but if that team over there is like being slammed, you're like, excuse me, please, they need my help right now.
yeah.
So that's your job.
Yeah. So, and Chung
Well-
pretty much traffic controls the
Yes.
flow as I'm out in the field.
Okay.
Chung is saying, oh God, okay, you know what, Sue, all our escrows are closing right now and we're listing a whole bunch, help over here. Or gee, we've got 5 or 7 new escrows that are opening. Don't leave that chair. Just strap her in. So
Is she kind of the office manager here?
yeah,
So you're the office manager here. I see. Oh wow. Okay, that's awesome.
she runs them. She runs them all.
Wow, that's awesome. That's so cool.
And Sue's been in the industry for over 20 years,
Yeah.
right? Started in home warranty
Correct.
and then in assistant capacity.
Yeah, I'm a certified transaction coordinator. So that's going to be, you know, keeping on top of timelines and things like that, making sure everything's signed, all the T's are crossed, all the I's are dotted. So that's pretty much where I lie. And then as far as the listing side of things, I'll help out with the social media. If we need anything as far as getting that property ready, I'm plug and play. You know, that's pretty much how we all are here. Is we're pretty much all plug and play. We all have a hand in the closing packages. We all have a hand in the listing side at some point. So if anybody's out or sick on vacation, whatever, we can pretty
Vacation.
What's that? She's the only one that doesn't take vacations.
Oh, well, I believe it.
Yeah,
This is
so-
vacation.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, we can all pretty much dive in wherever we, you know, might be limping along.
So
we can
cool.
help out. So
You guys are such a solid team. I'm so impressed, man. This is so cool. Because you hear, you know, oh yeah, 200 transactions a year. You hear that, but you really don't know what. Let's say that again.
But who's
225. I'm sorry. That's true. That's true. Why do I keep saying 200?
make sure we're clear
225.
on that.
That's good. We gotta be clear. Come on, we got this qualified.
So those are physically closed escrows. The success rate, of course, for her closing them is I probably like 99.9%. At the shift. Prior to that, it was 100%. But it's a lot of processing. So, yeah.
Okay, so this is the negotiations.
yeah, so these are in escrow right now. The ones on the left have all contingencies removed. So we're getting ready to close out those files completely.
These are negotiations.
Yeah, those are the
Oh, these are
Yeah,
negotiations.
they don't leave here until we're in escrow, and then they come over here.
Those bins, bam, and then after that one, here, and then
Contingencies removed, close, boom.
Close
and then
pile.
Then we do
That's
This
crazy.
way, even though everything
start
they
tomorrow.
do is on the computer,
Yeah.
this way, nothing, this is our safety net.
Wow.
Because when you're on the computer, it's flat, even though it gives you alarms. When you have 100 alarms, you can't.
That's true.
But this, if
It's
the
real.
purple sheets are standing up. These
Yeah.
sheets are standing up for a reason. It's saying, hello, this is what's needed.
These sheets are standing up for a reason.
Yes. That's
Yeah.
the trigger.
That's like
Even though we have it on the computer, that's the backup.
that's the ding that I just
So
heard.
yes,
I
exactly.
see.
And my whole analogy is, I'm walking a tightrope. If I fall, there better be a safety net, or I'm going to crack my neck, crack
true.
my head open, break my neck.
Yeah.
That's the safety net.
One of the things that realtors are known for is not looking like their headshots? Well, Merari at ATAP Photography not only has the experience, but she truly helps you feel comfortable during the process. She shoots tethered, which means that as she's shooting, you're able to see what your photo is gonna look like. ATAP Photography takes that awkwardness away from having to get a headshot, and they make it fun. So if you need a headshot, which I'm pretty sure you do, give them a call. Tell us about the story that you kicked a famous guy out of the lawn.
This was a long time ago. Should I say who it is first, or should I say who it is at the end?
Build some anticipation.
So I had a rental property. This was a long time ago. This was like 1992 or 3. I had a friend who was an actress, and she was a struggling actress. I was a young, struggling real estate agent. And I had an empty property, and she said, oh, I've got these friends, they're actors. They can just move in for a while until you find somebody. I said, no problem, that's great. And they moved in, and they paid rent, and they were there for, 6 months, a year. So they went to move out, and I went to get the keys, and this guy has his U-Haul parked on the lawn. And I'm like, dude, get your car off the lawn. You're breaking the sprinklers. And I went up to the window, and they were mostly moved out. And he's scruffy, and he had a cap on. Had overgrown, and he looked dirty. And I'm in his face going, get your truck, get the U-Haul off the lawn. I'm going to have to pay for all this. And he's like, it's all right, it's all right. So anyways, I called my friend, and I said, that guy was really rude, and he broke all the sprinklers, and he had it parked on the lawn. And I'm giving you the mellow version because I was quite upset. And I used some foul language, and I told her what I told him. And she said, oh my God, you didn't. And I said, no, I did. Why? The truck was on the lawn. She goes, do you know who you just threw off the lawn? I said, no, I don't care. He was a jerk, and you shouldn't have parked there. She goes, remember that movie we saw last week where you were drooling over that guy? And I said, what one? She said, A River Runs Through It with Brad Pitt. I said, oh, no, I didn't throw that guy off the lawn. That wasn't him. I was this far from his face. That wasn't him. She goes, yeah, that was him. You just threw Brad Pitt off the lawn. True story. True story.
Stephanie, if you had to do it all over again, would you do something different?
So the only thing I would probably do different was move over the hill, because, I started in the San Fernando Valley, which is where I grew up, and it's great. But if I would have, the prices are so much better on that side than that side. And it's the same amount of work. So that is one way to scale, right?
If you're going to farm over the hill, people are people. If
Absolutely.
you're going to farm here, people are people. If you're going to farm hedge funds, well, who runs the hedge fund? People.
Absolutely.
If you're going to farm the REO and try to focus on that, well, who runs the REOs? People.
People, yeah.
So it's build a relationship with people, but just choose where you want to do it.
Absolutely.
And what you're saying is, if I had to redo it, I would rather go over the hill because I get paid more to do the same thing.
It's a higher price. Absolutely. Sure, it's a higher price point, right?
What mindset should all of us have going into this shift?
Oh, don't be scared. It's just a cycle. It goes in cycles, and it's just a matter of shifting how to do it, because each market is hard, actually. This past market, I think, was really hard for newer agents, because agents like myself and experienced agents that had a broader audience were taking a larger share of the business. So sometimes when the market's going really fast, it's harder for newer agents to get in. I know that's how it was for me when I was a new agent and the market was moving really well when I got in. I couldn't get a deal to save my life. Then when it slowed down enough so I could hop on the train, so to speak, and get going. I think that in any market there's business. It's just you have to reinvent yourself, and you have to figure it out how to get it.
That's awesome. Got to know where to farm.
Got to pick the people and stay consistent. It's the basics.
Basics.
It is.
Well, thank you so much, Stephanie, for joining us. Thank you. This is awesome. Thank you. Thank you.
On the next episode of The Career Realtor, I head over to Jose Luis Morales' offices. He gives us a tour of all of his locations, including his warehouse, where he keeps $300,000 worth of furniture, which he leverages to get more listings. All while sharing some invaluable lessons along the way.
Okay, so if you're still here watching me and you're listening to me, then you must have really liked this show because it's over and most people would have just exited. But if you got some value from this and you're like, wow, this is great, this is amazing, well, I want to start a community. You're probably if you're a realtor watching this, first of all, understand that when I say that I truly believe that realtors are heroes, I truly believe that. I believe that realtors have this unique ability to be able to impact people's lives. And so what I want to do is I want to create a community of heroes, of realtors. So right now, if you want to join this community, just type in Realtors Are Heroes, A-R-E, Realtors Are Heroes on Facebook. Find the community and join us, because a lot of the stuff that we talked about on the show, on this episode, we can go so much deeper. We can not only have masterminds, but we can explore these different topics and just share best practices. So there's so much that I want to do, guys. And so I'd love for you to join this community. I'd love for you to be a part of Realtors Are Heroes. Look, I will tell you this. I'm not trying to get you to switch brokerages. I'm not trying to get you to, I'm not trying to recruit you to anything other than, listen, there's a community of realtors and let's talk and let's share best practices and let's come together. You all are so special to me. You all are not only special to me, but you're special to your clients, man. You guys are such a big deal. I hope to continue talking to you, and I hope you join the community.